Minister or Prime Minister can be removed if they face allegations of corruption or serious offences and are detained for at least 30 days. You think this constitution amendment can be misused, is dangerous?
I'm appalled that we need such a constitutional amendment. If you go back to even recent times, since nowadays people are allergic to history, especially if you go back to 1975. So let's go to more recent history. If you go back to, when was it, 1994, 95, 96, the Jain Hawala diaries?
Yeah.
And I must confess, I was appearing for some of the accused. The cases were thrown out at framing of charges stage because it was all based on a diary, and we all, even basic lawyers know a diary is hearsay and without any corroborative evidence is a piece of paper. Yet, people were charged. Nobody was arrested. If you remember, Mr. Advani said this case is frivolous as ever. The day I'm resigning now, he left, I think he even left Parliament or leader of the opposition some post. He said, I will come back the day my name is clear. Everybody did that. Correct? Was that destructive of the basic structure of the Constitution? Or move to 2000, when I was Solicitor General of India. And there was a problem. Lalu Yadav had been arrested, if you remember, Mr. Lalu Yadav. He resigned. And yet, at that time, the CBI, I was being instructed by the CBI to appear in his bail whenever he sought bail. And Arnab, I remember seeing a photograph, long distance lens photograph. His wife was chief minister. He was sitting in the jailer's chair with his feet on the table with a lot of people around him. All the ministers were around him. And they showed me a photograph of all the Lal Batti cars parked outside the jail. That was, I thought, a abuse of democracy. Because if you're not a chief minister, it doesn't mean you put somebody else in the office and you run it from jail. What we have now seen, therefore, is a sharp decline in values from the day people said, if there is a charge against me, I will first clear the charge. 2 days where people say, so what if I'm in jail? In my own subjective opinion, doesn't matter if the Supreme Court has not granted me bail, but in my own subjective opinion, I'm innocent. Therefore, why should I leave office? So it was the Constitution never envisaged. And this is symbolic, Arnab, according to me, a more fundamental shift in the mindset. The Constitution regards public office as a sacred trust, a duty to serve the people. The criticism appears to be more of an assertion of an entitlement. I have earned this office. You can't take it away from me only because I'm arrested. It's like taking away somebody's property only because he's arrested. So I think we need to discuss and reassert what are our basic constitutional values, how are we going to live? I mean, we've seen decline in constitutional values all over the world, so I'm not blaming Indian netas. Across the Atlantic, we all know what's going on every day. So we have in India to rediscover where we are and to rediscover what basic values we must live by. Otherwise, as we always say, democracy is a fragile virtue and it's always work in progress.
Sir,
you allow these values to take hold, we will lose our democracy.
Sir, how do we tackle the basic counter-argument that this constitution amendment removes the presumption of innocence argument, that a person is presumed innocent till convicted?
So you are arrested and put in jail despite you being convicted, right? So let me as a lawyer explain to you what this argument is about. Somebody else asked me, this violates natural justice and it is opposed to the presumption of innocence. Natural justice is a right to be heard. You cannot, if you are arrested within, the Constitution provides within 24 hours you will be before a magistrate. So your first step of judicial relief, then the High Courts, and then the Supreme Court. And what we have is a system in which you lose your liberty only when it is under judicial supervision, refusal of grant of bail. That doesn't run counter to the presumption of innocence. The presumption of innocence is not that you're presumed to be innocent till the last day that you're convicted. The presumption of innocence is the underlying basis on which trials are conducted, i.e. the prosecution must establish your guilt. It is not that you have to establish your innocence. That is why some laws have tilted this. I am a staunch critic of the PMLA law, which has tilted this. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court upheld it. Hopefully, they will have second thoughts about it. But apart from those special laws, the presumption of innocence still holds because it's the prosecution which has to prove your guilt. Even when you're arrested, prima facie, the government has the prosecution has to show that there is a good reason to keep you in custody.
Sir, so Kejriwal was in office despite being in jail for 9 months. According to this, he would have been out in a month.
Yes, he would have had to. I don't know whether the fact that we need such a constitution amendment itself makes me hang my head in shame.
Can't it become an incentive for arrest?
There is no question of incentive for arrest.
If I want to fix my political rival, I will, before he charge sheeted, put him in jail on the pretext of investigation. Sir, counter argument, you know how independent the lower courts are. It's not difficult to get someone arrested.
Now let's come to the real topic which nobody wants to talk about. Where a common man is arrested, where Arnab Goswami is thrown in jail, there is nobody who screams.
True.
But if a Neta is arrested, oh my God, the system has collapsed.
Correct.
So, and who has made these laws under which all this is happening? It's these very people who are screaming murder today. So, what if today a debate is raised and when should a person be arrested? A person, not a Neta. Why should an Indian lose his most sacred right, the right to liberty? The lowest of the low. A businessman, a journalist, a professional, whoever is being arrested, a worker. Why should he lose his independence? Why should we not bring back Krishna Iyer's bail, not jail adage back? You know how we had to struggle to get you bail. Whereas it should have been granted for the asking. Who corrupted the system? It's those people who are today screaming the loudest about this constitution amendment. So let us not mix our different. If you tell me there is a problem in the courts today, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You've been a victim of that.
So presumably this will also apply to Rahul Gandhi if he's arrested tomorrow in the National Herald case, for example.
Yes.
Then will he have to resign as leader of the opposition?
If he is arrested, if it goes to a court, he will argue this arrest is mala fide, this arrest is motivated. In your case, we did argue, we did succeed. The court gave you bail. I can say 30 days is too little, Indian courts take too long. Okay, the joint committee may say not 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. Or if the case is pending in Supreme Court till such time as the bail case is pending in the Supreme Court. That's fine tuning. In principle, can you say, I know I have been denied bail, I will be in jail till I'm convicted?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of our MPs who have criminal cases against them who are getting heebie-jeebies.
They won't be affected by this. They are not in office. It's not that you're disqualified. Somebody else was confusing disqualification. This is not a disqualification. You can be under trial. You continue to be a member of parliament. If elections are called, you contest the elections.
You think it'll be upheld by the courts if it goes for challenge? You think?
I don't see on what ground.
Nowadays, everything goes to the courts.
Today, if constitution is being amended to provide a check and a safeguard, what will the Supreme Court say? That we as courts have completely failed in rigorously implementing the law of bail, and that is why people are wrongly kept in jail, so we strike down a constitution amendment. I can understand a criticism saying nowadays the courts are very miserly in granting bail. That's a separate criticism. That's a separate discussion we must have.
But under PMLA, ED, doesn't it take longer to get bail? Naturally, they are worried because of the misuse of the ED, because apparently under PMLA, it is very difficult to get bail below 30 days.
Is ED only misused when a Neta goes to jail? Is ED not misused when a businessman goes to jail?
But
Are
netas
we
say they
having
are
a
more
debate on
vulnerable
ED or
to
are we having a
political
debate
rivalries
on...
from other netas.
So are we having a... What about journalists being sent to jail for political rivalries? So if we are having a debate on why the Indian judiciary is not functioning the way it should, I am all for it. Why should we not repair the law in which citizens are not unnecessarily incarcerated? Citizens, I am all for that discussion. But to say that a separate standard must be applied for Neta, a common man goes to jail, doesn't matter. Can you continue as the managing director or chairman of a big company if you're in jail? Can you continue as a civil servant if you're in jail? When a
But
lawyer say, I will practice from jail, please give me VC facilities, I'll argue for myself from my clients.
you really think a
Yeah.
prime
Is
minister will come under this,
heard
sir?
of?
Because you think a prime minister will, apparently you can't file an FIR against the prime minister. Some members of
says?
parliament said that a police inspector now has the power to arraign the prime minister of the country. So police inspector,
always had.
police Raj,
He always had. He always had.
not a prime minister.
Our prime minister today.
Can a SHO file an FIR against the prime minister?
You don't file a FIR against the prime minister. You file an FIR against a person who has allegedly committed an offence, and there is no immunity.
Even if he's a prime minister.
Immunity is from acts in office. Immunity is from acts in office. If a prime minister, and that is why Prevention of Corruption Act, when you say in the discharge of your functions you've done something, you need to get sanctions, etc. Even a prime minister can be prosecuted.
Correct.
And today, if there is an allegation of murder against the prime minister, of course you can. The policeman will go and arrest him. Yes, there are checks and safeguards within procedural systems to make sure it's not used as an engine of harassment.
Last question. Last question here. Last question. I know you are very busy, but last question. If, you know, there are these theories of moral responsibility. Whereas people, if they want to resign, that is their moral responsibility. Issues of personal morality of a public representative are more important than the proposed constitution amendment. Let it be the moral responsibility of Arvind Kejriwal to resign. Let it be the moral responsibility of Manish Sisodia, Satyendra Jain to resign. Why force them?
Why apply the rule to convictions also? A convicted criminal, why should he be disqualified? Let it be his personal morality, he walks out of private life. The point is, if a constitution, if you're going to work a constitution in which a man sitting in jail who has been refused bail by the highest court of the country says, I will run the office of chief minister, what public confidence can you have? Did the constitution ever envisage that a man sitting in jail would enjoy high public office? Once again, Arnab, I come back to this. What is high public office? Is it a duty?
But what is the serious offence, Harish Salve? What if I were to ask you, such a good counter question, Harish Salve, but if I were to ask you as a citizen, can Harish Salve tell me what defines a serious offence? You've left this ambiguous, you say, allegations of serious...
No. Well defined in law. Well defined.
Well defined?
For example, yes, 5 years or plus is the understood norm. For example, if you apply for a visa for the United Kingdom, I know Sanjay Dutt applied for a visa for the United Kingdom. Flat rule, if you've been convicted of an offence 5 years or more, no visa.
Convicted.
So,
but convicted.
Yeah.
Not accused.
No, that's not
charged.
We're talking of we're talking of a definition of a serious offence. A serious offence is defined as one which has a punishment of 5 years or more. Today, you are not being disqualified. You're being said till such time as you are in custody and the custody extends 30 days or more, you will step aside from office. If you're released from custody, you can come back into office. You're not disqualified.
Viewers, my question.
And this will be after prima facie, the highest court has said there is a case against you. So you have, by definition, a person against whom there is a case which deserves his continuance in custody as seen by the courts of the land and not just the magistrate of the lowest court. That's why it says 30 days. Now, there can be an argument on why 30 is too little, make it 45, make it 60. That's a matter of working out the details of the law.
Yeah.
But in principle, it appalls me that people say, so what if he is in jail? It could be that there is a false case against him, therefore allow him to continue.
Yeah. Well,
that's not what we said in 1991.
Yeah.
Why should we say it now?
Well, I've always put this question, viewers, and that's the number. Do you agree with Harish Salve's assessment when he supports the Constitution 130th Amendment Bill 2025, also putting this entire video on digital so that you can have a live polling on it? I will send Mr. Salve the responses with my regards. It's such a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Every time I talk to you, it's mentally stimulating for us. And it's
always
wonderful.
a pleasure talking to you, Arnab.
For all people watching the program tonight, the most intellectually stimulating environment is when Harish Salve is arguing before the Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the greats of our jurisprudence. Ram Jethmalani, Harish Salve, Soli Sorabji. When they argue in the courts, people just come there to watch. And it's our pleasure and privilege to be talking to such a legend. Thank you very much, Harish Salve.
Thank you, Arnab. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.